Hi, and welcome to another edition of the Digital Arts Festival. I'm Jim Sirianni, your host, and this festival and this show is being produced by Center Stage Theater. And Center Stage Theater in Santa Barbara is uh, trying to work out a way to connect with audiences in this time of COVID-19 and having to quarantine in place. And as many of you probably know, it's very difficult for a lot of artists, dancers and performers, musicians, actors, etc. Everyone has had to close down because of quarantine. But we still want to get the word out there about what everyone's doing, how they're creating in the quarantine situation, and also what they might be doing once the quarantine is lifted and once we go back to normal, what everyone's going to be doing later on in the future. My guest for today is L. Taylor Ashton-Beil, and L. Taylor is a dance maker and a native of Cleveland, Ohio. Graduated with honors from Kent State University with a BFA in dance performance in 2017. Ashton received her MFA in dance from Hollins University in conjunction with the Master of Contemporary Dance Education program at Frankfurt University for Music and Performing Arts in Frankfurt, Germany. Ashton is currently a 2019-2020 Spaces Andy Warhol Foundation Satellite grant recipient. Ashton's current work in process, and correct me on the pronunciation, is it pronounced ataba or ataba?
Ataba, yeah.
And
Ataba.
welcome to the show, L. Taylor. It's so great to have you here.
No, it's so great to be here. Thank you so much.
And one more time, so I don't butcher it again. How is the work pronounced? Ataba?
Ataba.
Ataba. Okay.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
Arabic for friendly contact.
oh, I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
And it's Arabic for friendly contact?
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Friendly contact. And so first of all, what I want to ask is, you're based in Cleveland, Ohio, and I was curious as to how you found out about our Digital Arts Festival here in Santa Barbara.
Yeah, this is a great question. I am good friends with Meredith Cabnis. She and I went to Hollins together. We both received our MFA from Hollins same year, actually. And Meredith posted on Facebook and was like, hey, who would be interested in a digital arts fest? If I were to help put something together, I could get you in contact. And I said, hey, me, and put like the hands up emoji, pick me. I'm so interested, sitting at home, just really wanting to engage and connect with people from all over. So I said, yeah, absolutely. And she and I Facebook messaged about it a little bit, and yeah, super interested. And now I'm really happy to be here. So yeah.
Awesome, that's great. And we're excited to have participants all over the country, and maybe we might get some in other countries as well, but it's great that you're joining us all the way from Cleveland, Ohio.
Good old
So
Cleveland.
there you go. So tell us a little bit about your artistic background.
Yeah, so my artistic background. I grew up in Youngstown, Ohio, which is about an hour and a half from Cleveland. And I was a competition, like I grew up as a competition dancer in a studio setting. And then after graduating from high school, I was really interested in pursuing dance as a career. So I wanted to get a BFA in dance and really see where this this artistic practice could take me. So I decided to go to Kent State University and pursue a BFA in performance from Kent State. And I received that BFA in 2017, loved my time at Kent. But I also just left Kent State wanting more exploration. I felt like I wasn't ready to enter the workforce or like enter like the professional company world or anything like that. So I decided to apply for Hollins MFA program, their year residency track. And so I went to Hollins after I was accepted there, and I spent a year. I was there 2 summers and one like full semester, no, 2 full semesters. So the way that Hollins works is there's different tracks for each program. So there's like a 3-summer track, there's a 2-summer track, and then there is the year res, which is 2 summers and 2 semesters. So I was a year residency track at Hollins. And spending a year there was one of the best experiences I could have ever had. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to have studied there. I learned so much. I got to travel quite a bit. I was able to study in Frankfurt for half of the summer, both summers that I was there through the program. And I also got to do a little bit of almost like our spring break. We went to Bulgaria and studied with one of our professors there as well. So I'm super grateful for that opportunity. And I learned so much while I was at Hollins. And then after graduating from Hollins, I moved to Atlanta for a little bit. My husband and I, he was already based in Atlanta. And after graduating, I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to move to Atlanta. We're going to figure it out. It'll be great. And I didn't love Atlanta. I got there and I didn't spend a lot of time there. I was lucky to have some connections in Atlanta and was able to take class and be there for a moment. And I really found like a great arts connection in Atlanta. I just didn't find like a good personal connection to Atlanta. So we moved to Cleveland. Briefly after I spent some time in Atlanta, my husband and I both moved up to Cleveland and we just like dove right into the art scene here. I was able to apply for the Andy Warhol Spaces Satellite grant, and I was one of there's 6 of us that received that grant over like 70 applicants. So I was really, really grateful to receive that. And I'm restaging my thesis from Hollins and kind of like re-exploring it and delving a little bit deeper into the whole process. And I've had a year and some money to do that. So it'll be premiering, re-premiering it's called the Zygote Press building. And it's a printing press and a museum space here in Cleveland. And that will it was supposed to happen in April, but being our current situation, it won't be happening in April. It's gonna be happening maybe more towards like September is what we're aiming for. So we're gonna be rescheduling that, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but yeah. I was able to do that, which I'm really excited about, and set some work at Kent State, which is what we're going to be talking about today a little bit, is the work that I was working with one of the BFA seniors there. It's always wonderful to like return to your alma mater. And so that's kind of a little bit about me.
Wow, that's great. Now I understand you're working on a project with a Kent State student. Tell us about that project.
Yeah, so the project I'm working on, I was working on, I'm not like, I can't currently work on it with her, but we've been in conversation quite a bit. She's a graduating senior from Kent State University. And for the first time ever, Kent State was allowing the senior dance, like the BFA majors, to choose whether or not they decided to create a project for their final kind of thesis. So when I was a BFA major at Kent, we had to choreograph a piece, like a group piece. And that was kind of like the thesis project, and you had to do research and things like that, which was wonderful. But this year they've allowed them to make a choice, which I love. They could either choreograph a piece and do the research that way, or they were able to do their own research on local choreographers and things like that, and bring someone in to set a work on them to then perform a solo. So I was lucky enough to be chosen by one of the beautiful BFA seniors at Kent State. Her name is Sophie Gasser. And she reached out to me looking for someone to create her BFA solo on. And I of course accepted, because I love the opportunity to return to your alma mater. I think it's fantastic, and this will be that would have been the second time that I was able to return and create a work for Kent State.
Nice.
So yeah.
So now is that what is the piece that we talked about earlier, the ataba? Is that part of the Kent State student piece, or is that
That's
separate?
not. So that's a different piece. So ataba was my thesis project at Hollins, so my MFA thesis. Yeah, and then the new work that I'm working on with Sophie is completely different. It's still untitled. She and I were kind of playing with titles and figuring out what we exactly want to call it. One of the title works in like a working title might have been Pretty Ugly or Pretty/Ugly. It was something that we were playing with. But yeah, completely different, 2 different projects, very different projects.
So, let me ask you about both, and we'll start with ataba. What you were telling me it means friendly connect
Friendly contact, yeah.
Contact, and that's in Arabic.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about that piece. What is it based on?
So that piece is mostly driven by like my Syrian American background. Both of my grandparents are Syrian Americans, and it was a piece that kind of explored my identity as a third generation Syrian American woman, and it was really rooted in my background and my family like heritage and things like that. But it was a piece that was designed as an art installation performance art piece. So when it was premiered at Hollins, it was in a museum space, and there was a lot of visual art on the walls, and there was kind of a video playing and music and things like that. But yeah, that was the original format of it. And then there will be like a kind of a re-explored elevated version of that happening in September at the Zygote Press in downtown Cleveland.
In Cleveland, that'll take place hopefully in September.
September, fingers crossed, yes.
Fingers crossed. And then the piece that you're working on with the student from Kent State, what are some of the other options for titles for it that you were thinking about?
We were talking about, the concept for the piece is, when you see the piece, you'll see that she's wearing like a white mask that she kind of like pulls over her head. And this whole idea of, we were talking a lot about like social platforms and social media and things like that. And this idea that like, you kind of do this thing where you like get in front of the screen, like put your mask on, and then here you are, or whatever you decide to present to the world is that it's that kind of like that white mask. And in the very beginning, before the piece starts, like there's a prelude to the work, and she's sitting in a chair, and there's a projector, and she's sitting in the white mask, and Everybody Wants to Rule the World by Tears for Fears is playing, and
Right.
it's the top 25 most followed women on Instagram. It's like a slideshow all projecting on her white mask, like on her face. So she's just sitting there for about 2 minutes, and it's all projecting onto her face and kind of playing really quickly. And the audience has a moment to recognize the women that are being projected on her face.
Oh,
And
interesting. Oh,
yeah, it's a really interesting moment where the audience has a chance to kind of see like, oh, wow, there's this person, or is it a mannequin? Or I can't really tell what's happening, but they can sort of have a moment. They have actually 2 minutes to recognize these women and the projection of their faces onto her actual face, but she's wearing that white mask. And then she decides to take it off. And then that's when like the performance part of the piece starts. But yeah, that's kind of how it opened.
wow, very interesting. So the faces that are projected onto her face would be famous women in history or in modern times or what have you?
It's modern times, yeah. So it was the top 25 most followed women on Instagram, which happens to be people like
Oh,
Selena
interesting.
Gomez. Of course, you have Kendall Jenner, Kylie Jenner, Kim Kardashian, of course, like that whole family basically. But a lot of the women, you have Ariana Grande. I think I said Selena Gomez, but yeah, a lot of women that have a very similar look. They're all predominantly or partially white. It's a very like, it's an interesting thing when you see it all play
Wow.
out.
Now, will you have a video of it posted on your website?
Eventually, yes. Unfortunately, because of COVID-19, the performance of this piece was canceled. So Sophie and I have been working together to seek out some performance opportunities in the future. We're looking at Cleveland Dance Fest, hopefully in November. Other than that, we kind of haven't like stretched too far. We're like, November seems like a solid time that we would hopefully be able to like re-enter reality and start performing again. So fingers crossed for Cleveland Dance Fest in November. I'm hoping that she'll get the chance to perform that. But the BFA, the senior performance was canceled at Kent State as just because like school was completely canceled.
Right. So the whole thing. So how are you dealing then with the whole shutdown and the quarantine as far as creativity is going? Are you trying to do stuff at home to be creative, or what's that been like for you?
Yeah, I'll be honest, it was like super debilitating at first. I had a couple meltdowns where I was just like, I can't be confined to like this space. I'm super grateful to live in a house. I mean, my husband and I were living in an apartment not long ago. So I'm like really grateful that we have a home now where I have a little bit more space and a backyard to kind of like escape
Stretch out a
from.
little bit.
Yeah, stretch out, exactly. But yeah, it's been rough, honestly, because I just feel in my home, especially, like I don't have a full space where I feel like I can like fully take dance classes, even though there's all of these wonderful classes that are online and people are doing Zoom ballet class, contemporary class all over the world, and I think that's fantastic. But yeah, I've struggled with it a bit because it's not super warm in Cleveland, so I can't like take class outside just yet. So
Right.
yeah, it's been a struggle, and I found myself just re-entering like reading, and I've done a lot of just like yoga and things like that. And I kind of created my attic space as a small little like yoga meditation studio where I could do like a little bit of yoga, a little bit of Pilates, and kind of like chill up there. But it's definitely not a space where you can like do a full dance class. But yeah, that's kind of how I've been coping a bit.
Right, right. And then, how has the shutdown affected your ataba piece, or has it?
Yeah. Oh, it's affected it tremendously. So the Andy Warhol, the Spaces Satellite Grant is a year-long grant, and that was supposed to be done and wrapped up pretty much by the end of May. So June 1st, basically, it would be done, wrapped up, like totally over. But because of COVID-19, Spaces has been gracious and they have extended the grant through September, October. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, my performance, I mean, of course it was supposed to be April 24th, and then it would the performance was April 24th, and it would live on in the museum space for about 2 or 3 days after following. And of course that's canceled because Cleveland, Ohio in general is on a statewide shutdown until at least May 1st. So that won't be happening. But I'm hoping and really, really, really hopeful that by September we'll be able to have that performance at the Zygo Press building. So fingers crossed. But yeah, it's been
Yeah.
tremendously affected.
Wow, wow, that's amazing. Um, well, yeah, yeah, definitely. Fingers crossed that it it all comes together at least, hopefully later in September. You're hoping
Yeah.
that would be great if
Mm-hmm.
that could work out. Now, are you working on any new projects that are inspiring you? You know, by all these times that we're going through, you know, the quarantine. Are you thinking about maybe creating something after we come out of the quarantine, or how's that been for you?
So right now I've been really just kind of focusing on being able to perform a taba after this and making sure that that project sees its like full fruition and being able to get that into the museum and have it happen and being in communication with everyone at Spaces and everyone at the Zygote Press building and being like, let's just make sure that this happens no matter what. And they've been so gracious. And yeah, so I'm excited about that. And also with Sophie, I've just been really hopeful, and I was just so bummed about the whole cancellation of school and the cancellation of the performance, just because she and I have been working together for a bit, working on this piece, and she was working really hard and went way out of her comfort zone to explore something new. And I think she knew like choosing me to create her BFA piece was going to be a challenge, and I wanted to deliver that challenge to her as much as she like was seeking out that challenge. And towards the end there, we were in tech rehearsal at the like in the black box theater and everything, and I mean it was just coming together so well. And I mean it was amazing and so exciting, and the piece was so provocative, and like it was really great. So for me right now, I'm so focused on being able to make sure that she has an opportunity to perform this work and share what we've been working on together, because I mean she's just, yeah,
Oh
fantastic.
man, I know it's been so hard for artists all over. I mean, that's kind of the main theme here with all of these interviews is that artists such as yourself, dancers and actors, singers, you know, performing arts students of all kinds, trying to get through this and, you know, in a confined space. and not having a venue to perform in, or not having or putting together a piece like you're doing and then having it, come to a complete stop. That's got to be
Mhm.
so very difficult. But it's nice to see that hopefully you'll have something coming up then in the fall, and then everything will continue. Uh,
Exactly. I hope so.
yeah, for sure. Again, I'm chatting with L. Taylor Ashton-Beil, and if you'd like to learn more about L. Taylor, her website is ltaylorashton.com, and that's LTaylorAshton.com, and you can see a lot of her work on that website as well. L. Taylor, are there social media handles that we can give out for you?
Oh, yeah, of course. So on Facebook, my name is just L Taylor Ashton hyphen Beil. So Beil is my newly added last name. And then on Instagram, it's just at LT Ashton. So yeah, you can follow me on Instagram, request me on Facebook. Super interested in any feedback once our audience gets to watch some of the kind of process footage that Sophie and I were working on together. I'd love like feedback, comments, questions, super open to all of that. So like I really hope to hear from some people.
Absolutely. And I think we'll also have a lot of your information posted on the Center Stage website on the blog. And that website is centerstagetheater.org. And you just click on the blog tab in the upper right, and it'll take you to the Center Stage Theater blog on WordPress. And you can check out L. Taylor's work on there as well. There'll be some information about her and hopefully a link to her website as well on the blog. Again, that's centerstagetheater.org, centerstagetheater.org, and just click on the blog tab, and you can find out all about all the information about Taylor, and as well this interview. And of course, if you're
Cool.
watching this interview, it should already be there. You probably clicked on
Right.
it. But all that information is on the Center Stage website as well. And El Taylor, I just want to thank you so much for joining us and letting us into your world and letting us know. How's the temperature there in Cleveland now?
Today was beautiful. I mean, it was 62 degrees. So, I mean, like that was amazing for us here. But yeah, it's been relatively chilly. I mean, in the mid 50s. But yeah, we're hanging on. I'm hoping it warms up so we can do more like bike rides and get outside and maybe take an outdoor dance class in my backyard or something, you know?
Right, right.
Hope for that.
Exactly. Well, keep warm for the time being. And
Thank you.
thank you again so much for joining us.
Thanks for
And
having me.
I'm Jim Sirianni, and you can find me at on Instagram at Jim on the Air. Also, Jim on the Air on Facebook as well to learn more about what I'm doing. And again, for L. Taylor, her website is ltaylorashton.com. That's ltaylorashton.com. And the Center Stage website for the blog is centerstagetheater.org, centerstagetheater.org, and just click on the blog on the tabs up in the upper right. And again, thank you so much, Taylor, L. Taylor, for joining us, and good luck with everything. And thanks again for being on the show.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. And again, I'm Jim Sirianni for Center Stage Theater. Thank you for joining us, and bye for now.